right. All right, we will now call to order the December 9th, 2020 Port Commission meeting. Let's see, all commissioners are present this evening. We did meet in closed session. I'll ask our port attorney to report out on that session, if you would.
Yes, the Port Commission met in closed session with their real property negotiator to discuss a transaction involving the property listed in the agenda. No action was taken.
All right, very good. Right, that will take us then to item 1 is presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda, but within the port's jurisdiction. We did, I think we received one public comment. Is that correct? Madam Clerk, I think that was...
Yes, you did receive one public comment on item number 1, and it's posted to the website.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Janet. All right, it takes us to the consent, which is the consideration of the minutes from the September 2nd meeting. Looking for approval. We have a motion by McGowan, a second by...
Second, or Ledesma.
And Dean, second by Sandine. All those in favor? Actually, we do need a roll call for that. Janet, if you would.
For Commissioner Ledesma?
Aye.
Commissioner McGowan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Sandine?
Aye.
Commissioner Cabaldon?
Aye.
And Chair Villegas?
Aye. All right, very good. Thank you, Janet. That motion carries unanimously. So that takes us then to our regular agenda. Item 3 was start with consideration. Item 3 is consideration of conducting discussion of a community service agreement with the Lake Washington Sailing Club.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. So tonight we have items 3 and 4. We have presentations from the River City Rowing Club and Lake Washington Sailing Club to discuss their community service plans. So back in February, the Commission approved 2-year leases with both clubs, and we are now 9 months into those leases, which require that a draft community service plan be presented to the Commission for review. As part of the boat club expansion project at the port, the River City Rowing Club plans to expand their dock facilities and training facilities, and the Lake Washington Sailing Club has plans to build a boat storage facility. Staff has plans to return to the Commission. Tonight's agenda items are not action items. They're purely for feedback from the Commission, and staff will take all of that feedback and discuss with both clubs on refining those plans to your liking. And staff will return to the Commission with a final plan prior to the discussion and approval of any long-term contracts with both clubs. So you have included in your packet the draft community service plans for reference, and then each club will make a short presentation and be available to answer any questions that you might have. You'll notice that the 2 draft plans are very similar, but they do have some differences just based on what club is able to offer. And so first up, we're going to have George Berry with Lake Washington Sailing Club. He's going to be presenting for them. And Madam Clerk, if you can display the slide for the Commissioner's reference, please. And George, you can take it away.
Thank you very much, Megan, and hello, everybody. I'm glad to see you all, and I appreciate you having us here at your meeting tonight. We're real excited about our community service plan and opening the club, facing the sailing club more towards the community. You know, one of our main goals is to expand the participation in the sport of sailing. And it just makes sense to just draw on the community that's closest to the sailing club. And, you know, through the different points in the community service plan, I think that we can get more participation from West Sac residents. And the main thing that everything goes together, I think, is just to advertise, to get the word out about the opportunities out at the Turning Basin for people that take part in sailing and rowing. And so that's what most of the community service plan is focused on. It's just expanding, you know, local knowledge about our opportunities. So just in terms of the current opportunities, I'm not going to go, point by point through here, but it's what we offer is a low cost opportunity to participate in sailing. And that's the whole point. A membership in the Lake Washington Sailing Club is $150 a year, and that's for an individual or a family. And that gives you access to the facilities. We have boats there for people to use, which is a new sort of push in sailing and community sailing, is to have boats that are shared so folks don't have to go and buy their own boats. We provide classes and lessons for juniors and adults. And we also provide sailing camps during the summer for kids. Now, these sailing camps also are inexpensive. It's $150 for 5 days, 5 mornings from 9 to 12. So the idea here is to get a lot of participation and to get people on the water. We offer advanced racing for grown-ups or high schoolers or young kids who want to get into racing. And then we do other outreach programs. We participate in the coastal cleanup. We've done that for several years. We participate with the Golden Empire District of the Boy Scouts of America to have a on-the-day water where different troops come out and do sailing and rowing, and we work together on that. And we've really tried hard to start a program through the River City High School to start a team there. And then in April, we have an open house. That's one way to reach out. And so we do a lot of publicity about our open house, and we try to get folks to come in and just see what's available. And a lot of times what we hear from West Sac residents is that they never heard, but they never knew about what's available over there. So I think that could go a long way towards getting more West Sacramento residents over to the lake. So some of the things we're talking about, proposing in the plan here is, first of all, to allow the city to use the facilities quarterly for special events like meetings or workshops or trainings and that kind of thing. The second point is really Bill Natty's idea, so I'll let him talk more about it, but it's to set up and administer a adopted trail program for the bike trail on the other side of the levee. And so we would participate, we would keep an area like a mile clean, but we'd also advertise that, get people involved in that, and manage it. U.S. Sailing has a whole series of programs for STEM, how to incorporate STEM education with a sailing emphasis. And so we'd like to find ways to get that program into the schools. And that could be either by having some of our older volunteers go to schools and provide classes and how sailing, all the STEM attributes of sailing, or have classes come out to the lake, and we can do that way too. We're proposing a West Sac Sailing Days, so just a monthly open house, like a mini open house for juniors to come out and try sailing. It'd be sailboat rides and another way to get folks out and see the facility and try out sailing. And then we have been listed in the Parks and Recreation summer catalog. And so this in terms of advertising, a way to get eyes on what we're doing and get people out to the lake. And the point here, promote special events in West Sacramento News Ledger and other local media, goes to the point of just advertising and getting the words out to West Sacramento residents to get them to participate. And then we have allotted a 15% of the boat storage yard for storage of boats that are owned by West Sacramento residents. And then the last one is a transportation. So I think the main issue for young folks to get out on the water, rowing or sailing, is getting out to the lake. And a lot of times, the parents bring them out. So we're looking at some ideas for how to make that easier. One idea that Bill has is to expand the bicycle path that gets out to the port. Another idea would be to work some way with with busing or transportation to get folks out. So that's the major thing I've seen all the time is that, until a young person gets their driver's license, they're dependent on their parents to get them out. And if we can help that out, we can see a lot more youth out there. One other point I wanted to add there is that the board of the Sailing Club is going to make a real strong push for diversity and inclusion this year and going forward. We have a few members that identify as disabled. They work with a Bay Area Disabled Sailing Association down in South San Francisco. And we're going to be able to get a few boats from that group. And we're going to start a adaptive sailing program. And we're going to be working, this is all kernel, but we're going to start outreach first with West Sacramento groups, like spine injury groups or MS groups or associations of wounded veterans, that type of thing, in order to get folks that have disabilities on the water. There's a lot of adaptive stuff in terms of sailing that we can do to do that. And then in terms of inclusion, sailing just traditionally has been sort of underrepresented in certain groups. And again, the way to meet that, I think, is by getting youth out to the lake and getting them involved in rowing and sailing. Because, when we have youth, we can develop, activities before we get into, to older age, adulthood, where you're sort of set in work and that type of thing. So if we can get more youth out, we can start to dress and get more representation. And so I want to get through that real quick so we didn't spend a lot of time. And I didn't take too much of your time, but also just to fill you in, this year has been, challenging like everyone else. And, we've had a little bit of a dip in membership, but the membership's been pretty active. And we have had to, reduce a lot of our activities because our season opened right when the stay-at-home orders went into effect. So we've had to cancel a bunch of events and classes and that type of thing. But it's given us a chance to, turn our attention towards this project. We've done a lot of innovation with our website and with our staffing and that type of thing. So again, I just appreciate you all having us here, and I'm available for any questions you have.
All right. So is that the entire presentation, or did you say Bill was going to say something? I'm not certain I was tracking.
Yeah, they're listed as two separate items. So I can either have Bill give his presentation also, and then you can give comments on all of it. Or if you prefer to do each of them separately, we can do that as well.
Just a quick time check, because I think I've lost track a little bit. So sorry, Megan, real quick. Aaron, in terms of the timing, we need to wrap up by a time certain.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair. We start our council meeting at 6:30, but we should allow a few minutes beforehand for those of us that need to get over there. Now, this is a workshop, and I know we've been working on this for a long time, but I don't want to put too much pressure on. We have to get it all wrapped up tonight. Okay. We can always continue it in our January meeting as well.
All right, so I'll track with where you need to be in terms of the timing of the logistics. So sorry, Megan, sorry to interrupt, but however you want to proceed with your item 3 and 4 combined is fine with me.
Okay, yeah. So we'll have Bill Natty with River City Rowing Club do the presentation, and Bill can kind of just pull out any pieces that might be different or that's particular to River City Rowing Club, and then the commission can give feedback on both of them. So Bill, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, welcome, Bill.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's fine. So first, much like George, we're also would change things quite a bit for this year. We are rowing only in singles, and so instead of our typical 4- and 8-person boats, everybody is in an individual boat. A lot of the boats are stored outside, or we only allow 2 people in a boathouse at a time to get to them. Cleaning, all the social distancing, masks required. We are participating in the Yolo County Green Check program. We are certified by that. Our focus this year has been on keeping all of our staff, and we have done that so far. In fact, because we're using just the single boats, some of our staff are working twice as much. Instead of having 20 people on the water at a time, they have 7 to 10. Our membership, our adult membership is down a little. Our junior membership is up about 50%. And for instance, on weekends where we used to have classes or team practices from 5 or 6 in the morning to 10 in the morning on Saturday, and that was it. They're going 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday now, because of the number of people that want to get out on the water and the number of boats that we have that we can put them out. So that's just kind of where we are. Our plan is, as George said, much like theirs. We developed these plans together. So again, we have the classes and the lessons and the team structure. We have a middle school program, a high school program, and an adult program that are open to anybody. We've participated in the coastal cleanup for 2 decades now. We do the other things that you can see on the lower side of the lower right-hand side there. Much again, like George has been doing. We do provide school PE classes with coaches and equipment. They go out to the schools and teach up to 700 kids a day in PE classes. And then, so we provide the equipment and then bring it back. And then going forward, for us, I think one thing that differentiates us from the sailing club here is that our project is actually 2 phases. We are going to make our site ADA compliant, and the second phase of our site includes putting up a large structure, a picnic shelter, putting in a pier, a ramp, and a dock. And we have to do a CEQA report for all that before we do that work. So that is a second phase to our project that will happen later. And that's those activities that rely on that second phase won't start to occur until that is done, because that will also provide us with our ADA compliance. So some of the things that we are looking at doing are providing a low-cost canoe and kayak membership that would be available to the public. So that would be, again, like $150 a year for a family to have access to our canoes and kayaks anytime they want. And as George said, we talked about an Adopt a Trail program that we could work with Parks and Recreation. So it'd be kind of like the Caltrans Adopt a Highway program. One of the things that our members really like doing is the coastal cleanup. So this would essentially be doing that twice a year and focusing on a section of a city park trail. The ideal would be from, say, the McGowan Bridge to the Palmadesi Bridge once that trail is in place. So, but something like that. Being able to host school visits at our site, that's something that's been proposed to us by one of the charter schools that we have been going to for years. And having a site that's ADA compatible or compliant, and where we could do, again, the sort of PE STEM classes together. That would be something we would like to do. And one thing I didn't see, oh yes, there it is. Providing a free canoe and kayak day once a month for the West Sac kids. So it would be aimed at kids to come out using the canoes and kayaks instead of rowing, because it's much easier to do. You don't have to take the time to learn, and it would just be, a fun day for the kids that we would do once a month from May to September using our volunteers and some of our staff. We would have an opportunity for a facility rental where people could rent, a family reunion, say, rent our facility, have access to the canoes and kayaks, get a rowing lesson if they wanted it. So those are just some of the things that we have put out. And I think that covers what I wanted to start with. So I'll open it for questions.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Mr. Chair.
Jump on in. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We challenged you to step up and to provide more opportunities for West Sacramentans. And I think that taking these in totality, I think you're proposing the options you're proposing. If we look at them all together, I think will get us a step forward. A lot more than I think. You do a great job here, of course, and we love the relationship, but I think that was the challenge we had. So I want to thank you for adding a number of new opportunities to the list. And I know that adds additional work on your half, but this is a partnership and a relationship. And so I'm pleased to see those. I think for us, and for me in particular, I'll speak for myself, I look forward to I think reviewing annually or biannually if we go in this direction, and I'm supportive of it, of kind of how it's going. I'd like to see the impact of what these offerings are, and actually to see that there's some traction. So I'm not sure how to add that in the proposal, but since we're just throwing out our thoughts and what we'd like to see, I think if there's a way to add that in, that would go a long way in kind of satisfying me. The direction is great, and I appreciate the work.
Well, thank you. If I can respond real quick, I think what we could do is provide some data in terms of the number of boats, in the storage that are owned by West Sac, and then also keep track of visits and memberships too, and report on that as a percentage or as a number too.
And I really appreciate that. I don't want it to be like a new dissertation project for you, but I know that it would be, and I'm sure that you're talking with members and donors and sharing the facts and the data with them. So I think it kind of, hopefully it goes along with telling your story as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
Yeah, this is a really terrific presentation, and I agree 1,000% with our vice chair, and it's great to see both of you on screen. When Supervisor McGowan helped lead the effort to shift the governance of the port to make it more oriented on the community, this was the kind of vision that was in place. And when then his successor, but back then our Vice Mayor, Oscar Villegas, was pushing hard for recreational opportunity to try to open up this tremendous asset that we have for our community, but also to build for both of them to try to build community support for the port itself, and to support continued investment and the operation of this very special place. We've worked with both of you and your colleagues and your members for many, many years, trying to intensify the participation in your activities by local residents, and you've worked really hard at it every time, as our vice chair has said. And this is about getting into brass tacks, and it's great to see the thoughtfulness, but the act, since we're all West Sac people, to see the actionability of it, right? Okay, we're going to do. Here's step number 12, and here's task 15, and here's who's going to do it. That's what it takes to get this done. And some of the new ideas in here are really intriguing and exciting. I love the recognition that transportation is a real limitation for youth to get to the port in order to enjoy the activities. And so, of course, the ideas around improving bike access and bike trails to arrive. I'm sure I could see Commissioner Ledesma's light bulb go on with respect to potential partnerships with VIA and others as well. Yolo Transit also. So a lot of good options in that space that we can bring other partners to the table too. And I also just to agree with Vice Chair Sandine about the metrics, just to see how we're doing overall, and what you've suggested, George, and what you scope makes sense. And also to get a sense of like, how are these individual activities working out? Not for the purpose of like micromanaging it, but just to get what I think none of us want to get in a point, well, you said you were going to do this program, you know, every 3 months, and none of us want you to feel like, oh, we have to continue doing this idea that George and Bill we came up with, you know, on a November evening in 2020. It's not really performing, but we told the commission that we were going to do that. We don't want you to be in that space either, right? So the metrics are for both to like make sure that we're all doing the best that we can and that we're getting the results that we need, but also to make sure that you're not wasting your precious time and energy and resources on activities that aren't actually getting it done in terms of increasing the range and the diversity and the numbers of local residents that are taking advantage of what you're offering. So I'm excited about this and really pleased with the presentation, the direction that it's taking, and looking forward to this coming back for approval.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, Bill's got something.
Okay, I was just gonna chip in since I happen to have the numbers right in front of me here. For our juniors and our middle school program in 2017 and 2018, 6% of the juniors were from West Sacramento. This year it's 18%, so that's tripling in 3 years. The middle school 2017 to 2018 was 17%, and this year it's 31%.
Bravo.
Some of that's a cultural shift. This is McGowan. You know, it's interesting because I can, you know, go back quite a ways, and there was certainly quite a period where the rowing and the sailing and even the outboard stuff was sort of incidental to the port operation and the port's function and the port and opportunities. And I think that there's an evolution that's occurring here, and that we can no longer say it's just incidental. It's becoming it's coming up front. And as we move forward as a governing body, and you all move forward as the providers of these services to the communities, and maybe community writ large, I think we all need to be mindful that it's in our best interest to work together and maximize these opportunities, certainly for the community of West Sacramento. I mean, that's kind of my bias. But I'd be wrong if I didn't recognize that it also has an attraction to a broader audience. And that is a challenge for us and sometimes a problem for us, but it's also an opportunity for us to showcase what we have here in our fair town. It's a management challenge. So I commend you all for the report, and I commend you all for what you're doing. And I just, for one, I'm acknowledging what I think is going to be more and more of a community amenity and value as we go forward. So, you know, you're not in the backwater anymore. You're coming up front.
So, anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I may, thanks. And I want to echo a little bit of what Commissioner McGowan just said, and thank you both for being here. I'll correct Commissioner Cabalden. It's a December night, not a November night that you were here, giving us feedback and ideas. But
no, in November when they cooked all this up.
Oh, okay. All right. But you know, it has become, and I've taken a couple of bike rides over the summer during COVID, just in watching people actually using the canal. And I know you're not at full capability right now to do the things you need to do, but we need to be planning for when we get back to get to a point where we can start enjoying it again. And what Commissioner McGowan said was absolutely right. This is a great asset for our city, for our residents. But it will become a regional attraction soon, because it's just the accessibility, closeness to our city center. It will be a matter of time before it becomes that place that a lot of residents in either Midtown, Land Park, wherever in parts of Sacramento or the region decide to come. This will be available to them. And by you both working so hard on these programs, adding additional services or looking at additional services is really going to be critical, And again, I don't want to hold you accountable for what you say here tonight, but the point is you're trying to stay active, keep it active, keep it busy. I think that's what we've learned in other parts of the city, is as much as you can encourage activity, people being there, that success builds on that success, builds on that success. And again, if something doesn't work, we'll be ready to help you, or at least, whatever we can offer to kind of keep things going. But we do have to have those metrics to kind of see what's working, what's not, because, as the Port Commission, we want to make sure it's as highest and best use. So, and this is. So just commend you and all the work being done. And thank you for bringing it to us tonight. And whatever we can do, I can do to help on the council side for the transit need, transportation need, happy to bring that as well.
All right, well said. All right, any other thoughts or comments? Because I concur with what everything has been already said. It's been a long time coming, and thank you to everybody who helped kind of craft this. It took a little bit of work to get there, but I think for the right reasons, it's been laid out very nicely. And I think if successful, if even half of what you've laid out happens pretty quickly, it would be a huge success. And as Commissioner Cabaldan said, the notion, and Miguel said as well, the notion of really introducing this once again, reintroducing the port to the community is critical. And I think you guys are the perfect club to start that, to get that ball moving. So I would encourage you, given all the thumbs up you've heard this evening, to work with the port general manager to create a check-in point, come back to us. It's not that our agenda items are so heavy we couldn't entertain you checking back in later next year on the status and kind of what the metrics show, as Commissioner Ledesma said, so that we can help advance what you've laid out. So thank you very much for all of your work. Megan, does that put a bow on this item for you?
Yeah, so staff will take all of these comments and then work with both clubs to bring a final version, considering all of these comments, back to you before we consider any long-term leases.
Very good. Right. Thank you for that. If there are no other comments under items 3 and 4, that will then take us to item 5, starting with commission reports. Are there any reports from any members of the commission? Seeing none. Port CEO report.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, can I just
sorry. Yep.
Because we have an interest in the levy project as well, the congressional committee markup for the port appropriations, not the port, sorry, the core appropriations did include report language that emphasized this, essentially the sense of the Congress that the West Sacramento project should be funded, essentially, right? The Congress doesn't earmark those funds any longer, just appropriates money to the Corps' work plan, and the Corps makes those allocations. But the Congress, thanks in large part to Senator Feinstein's office, included that in the language that goes along with the legislation. So that's an important step forward.
Yep, absolutely. Good notation. Any other commission reports? If not, the port CEO report.
No report tonight, thank you.
No report tonight, thank you. Very good. Thank you, Aaron. All right. If there are no other comments or questions, that's a wrap for this evening, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
All
right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.